Jets could screw up a signing of a first-round draft pick where the salaries are now slotted. So there's no negotiating really that needs to be done.
Right.
But somehow the Jets managed to turn this into a 3-day holdout.
As only they can do.
As only the Jets could, because of the language in the contract. And we don't even know. I never saw whether the Jets caved on the language or whether Darnold did. But there was no happy medium there.
Right. They didn't announce it.
No, and the Jets, either the Jets got their way and Darnold could potentially have his contract voided if he gets fined by the NFL, or the Jets caved and said, all right, well, the contract language will be what the majority of the NFL teams use as standard, and then there could be penalties if Darnold winds up being suspended. But he's not getting paid if he gets suspended anyway. So I don't understand why the Jets were so adamant about this, and and we said it either last week or 2 weeks ago that Darnold is the kind of guy who he's not a troublemaker. You look at a guy maybe like Baker Mayfield, who's had some both some on-field and off-field issues, and could see him as possibly being someone who could run afoul, as they say. But Darnold has never been that guy.
No,
he's not a he's a very even-keeled guy on the field. He's somebody who was a dependable guy at USC, but I don't understand why this took so long and why the Jets were so willing to take away from all of the positive vibes and feelings that existed after they drafted him, and all of the excitement that Jet fans have. Even though, let's face it, their team still isn't going to be very good this year, but as far as they're concerned, they have now a franchise quarterback.
They do, but I keep getting emails saying, join us, and we have plenty of seats, and make sure you buy those season tickets, but we'll move you around. It's not like a set season ticket, and then of course you still have to buy the exhibition games at full price. So,
wow. That's every team.
I know that's every team, but you think that if you're sending out an email saying, please, we'll put you in different seats because, this is what it's all about now, that you would say, well, don't buy the, I would have bought, their tickets were $40. I would have bought the 8 games if I didn't have to pay for the 2 exhibition games.
Well,
I mean,
you could do what other people do.
I know,
and like I said before, and donate them and take the tax.
And they still don't get people to show up for those games. I like I said, I think you play those games outside of your area where they want football.
Those games are for people who aren't able to go to NFL games, and they're willing to go to preseason games because they want, especially in New York.
But they don't change the price of them. That's the problem.
Yeah, but they want to be able to say, I went to an NFL game, even if it's a preseason game.
Well, I can understand that feeling. They're not going to be able to get
tickets during the regular season.
I understand that feeling when tickets used to be hard to get. In the old days, I hate to say
they still are.
Well, they're easier to get now. Jet
tickets are. Giant tickets aren't.
Yeah, Giants aren't. By the way, I was going to say what is wrong with our president, but we know there's so many things.
Why? Wait, before we get into that, bro,
what?
let me just mention Odell Beckham Jr. since we're talking football and we can get off football.
Okay.
But I have to say, I was impressed, and I don't think I've ever said this before. I was impressed with Odell Beckham's his attitude,
his maturity.
Exactly. Good word, brother.
Thank you.
But Odell Beckham Jr. had a press conference the other day and actually sounded like an adult. And if that is how he's going to be, and then it's obvious that somebody has gotten to him, and even more surprising that he actually listened, because he was outstanding in this press conference. And that's something that has been very rare to be able to say with Odell Beckham in the past.
Right.
He talked about how he was just happy to be out there running around again and being on the field and playing football. And that was the perfect thing for him to say. Not, I want to be the highest paid receiver in football right after I had ankle surgery, which is insane.
Right. But you know what gets me though, and it's in a good way. This guy is, when he's playing right, he is the best receiver in at least New York. And
he's one of the top 3 receivers in football.
Right,
when he's right.
But there's not a lot of times when he's right. It seems that's my problem.
Well, no, there is a lot of times when he's right, and he's been one of the few bright lights in the Giants' offense in the last few years. Hope now is, and why the Giants aren't being talked about in a more positive light, I really have no idea, because it's almost like you're adding Odell Beckham Jr. because last year, obviously, the Giants went 3-13 and their offense was a disaster. But Beckham missed most of the season after he tore ankle ligaments and needed surgery. But it's, the Giants are now adding Odell Beckham Jr. They're adding Saquon Barkley, who by all rights should be one of the best running backs in the NFL.
Right.
They have significantly revamped their offensive line, and it should be. I don't want to say it's going to be strength because you're talking about 5 guys who need to gel and who need to figure each other out, and they've made significant changes, including moving Eric Flowers from left tackle to right tackle, and we have to see how that works. But the Giants' offensive line should be much better than it was last year. So if all of these things come together, the Giants' offense could be devastating this year.
Yeah, but they're not going to talk about it until
the pieces
August,
are there
the end of August
for that to happen.
Right.
But like I said, with Odell Beckham Jr. saying he's just happy to be running around again, and people are asking him about his contract because that's obviously the sexy story, and he's put it out there that he wants to be the highest paid player in football, which I'm sorry, that's never going to happen for a wide receiver. But he said his comment was, I'm just going to let my agent handle that. I'm going to play football, and they'll let me know when something happens.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, let's get to our president. For some reason, a bored man, taking on LeBron James because LeBron James was interviewed by Don Lemon, and we know that our president hates CNN.
Don Lemon of CNN, yes.
Because, I don't know, maybe because they report the truth. I don't know. But it's very funny because a lot of people came to LeBron's defense, including the former First Lady Hillary Clinton, the Secretary of State, including you, and of course the current First Lady came to the defense of LeBron James. So, I mean, we know our current president is Twitter happy. He thinks he's making a point, and he just comes across like an out of touch crazy man.
He comes across as unstable, is how he comes across.
Yeah, and look what LeBron's doing. He's donating all this money to help people graduate and move on in education, which is very important. And Donald Trump had his scam university. So I'm trying to figure out why he went after. Was it because Don Lemon interviewed him, or is he just angry with LeBron?
It was because LeBron said something. I don't know if it was during this interview or if it was from one maybe a day or two earlier, but they asked him something about what would he say to Donald Trump if he was sitting across from him at a table, and LeBron's answer was, "I wouldn't sit across from a table from Donald Trump."
Oh, wow! So
obviously that was a negative comment, but there's a lot of reasons why LeBron James would say something like that, and so. Trump came out with a tweet after the interview with Don Lemon, which apparently he says he doesn't watch CNN, but the tweet read, LeBron James was just interviewed by the dumbest man on television, Don Lemon. He made LeBron look smart, which isn't easy to do. And then he finished with, I like Mike.
Yeah.
Now, I'll be honest. When I first read that tweet, I thought it was from a Trump parody account because there are a lot of them out there.
Yeah.
So now when I'm on Twitter, and especially when it's a Trump allegedly tweet, I look at the handle on the tweet because I need to see, all right, is this real? And there was the check mark, and there was real Donald Trump.
Right.
And I was astounded because I'm looking at this and I'm like, oh my God, this is real. This is from the President of the United States, and
wasting his time doing this. It's a true waste of time.
It could not be more undignified. It could not be more appalling. I mean, this is LeBron James. Literally, I think it was 2 days before this, opens a school an entire school. He had a school built. He has spent hundreds of millions of his own money on a school. 240 kids are going to receive an education and are guaranteed free tuition to the University of Akron. So their educations are paid for. So now it's up to these kids to say, all right, am I going to take advantage of this phenomenal opportunity that I've now been given?
Right.
And these are LeBron James's people. He lived the footsteps that these kids are walking in right now. He was, basically homeless in Akron. His mom raised him, and there was the one story that I think it was in 5th grade. He missed something like 100 days of school because they didn't have a place to live. So they were moving from friend to friend. LeBron was sleeping on the couch or the floor, and sometimes he wasn't. There were a lot of times, I guess, when he wasn't able to get to school because they were so far away, and it was so many buses.
Right.
And it's not like the school bus is coming to pick him up.
Nope.
Because they don't know where he is.
I mean, it's a really nice thing to do, and I just wish our president would worry about other things. And I don't understand, his obsession with hating CNN, and then Don Lemon, who's is a nice guy. If you ever watch him, he's a good guy.
Don Lemon, I've actually attended a taping of his show at CNN. So Don Lemon is a good journalist.
Yep.
He's also a guy who cares about
what's going
Americans. He's obviously cares about the black community.
Yep.
And is going to raise issues in the black community, and this is one of them. And for somebody who had to pay $25 million in fines because he created a scam university to belittle somebody like LeBron James, who, again, like I said, has spent...
And saying he likes Mike, and then, of course, meaning Michael Jordan comes out and says, well, I'm not a big fan of the president. So, anyway, brother...
And he supports what LeBron James is doing.
Right, and how can you not? Brother, we have like a minute left before Big Ed, who's just chomping at the bit.
I'm sure he is. He's probably already at my microphone, the microphone I'm usually at.
He is just ready to be the greatest host that you can with the most.
Yes, brother. Anyway, Premier League starts this week, brother. Your favorite soccer.
Yes, of course.
Transfer window closes this week, so a lot of moves still need to be made.
Okay.
And Red Bulls beat LAFC 2-1 on Sunday night. 2 goals from Daniel Royer. And your NYCFC had a 2-2 draw with Vancouver. And that moves the Red Bulls into second place, actually.
Okay, great. Brother, we have to call it a show. Good show. I'll talk to you later. You're listening to From the Press Box, part of the WHPC Sports Talk family, right here on 90.3 WHPC, streaming on the iHeartRadio app. This show will be on Spreaker.com a little bit later this afternoon as a podcast. Take care. Tim, you're Twitter at what?
At Real Tim Leonard.
And one more thing. Don't forget about the German Hit Parade tonight at 7 p.m. Uwe Riggers plays songs and sounds of today and yesterday from many different parts of Germany, plus news of interest to the German-American community. That's the German Hit Parade tonight at 7 p.m. right here on WHPC.
The views expressed on air are not necessarily those of WHPC, its management, or Nassau Community College. Responsible opposing viewpoints will be considered by emailing them to whpc@ncc.edu or by mail at WHPC 1 Education Drive, Garden City, New York 11530. Thanks for listening to the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
It's now easier to listen to the voice of Nassau Community College on your phone.
Stay connected to your favorite radio station anywhere you go on the iHeartRadio app.
Never miss shows like the Nassau Morning Madhouse, It's Saucy, or the Radio Rumble Again.
Streaming 24/7, 365. Listen to WHPC everywhere.
iHeartRadio is radio and unlimited music all in one app.
Listen live now in the iHeartRadio app and at iHeartRadio.com.